Welcome to Aurora Wellness Group's 28-day mental health challenge. Today is day 22, and we are going to talk about anger again. Anger part 2 today. So yesterday we talked a little bit about anger and why we need anger, and also how anger can be a secondary emotion. Today we're going to talk about what to do when we get angry, and especially more specifically about how to keep our cool when we kind of flip our lid or see red, or however you want to kind of phrase that. So anger can become problematic when we react too quickly. It's easy to get angry and just react out of anger, and often the way we react is not how we would have maybe liked to react. So the first thing that I want you to do when you're struck with anger is to calm your nervous system. Our brains literally get flooded with survival and stress hormones when we see red, or when we kind of flip out with anger. And when that happens, our higher thinking areas are not available. So we don't act like we normally would. We don't have access to the parts of our brain that can think through each scenario properly. So we need to calm down our nervous system to be able to reactivate those parts of our brain to deal with anger in a productive way. So how do we do that? To calm down our body and our mind, we need to remove ourselves from the situation. Take a break. Create a pause. Consider a walk can be a great way to do this. A guided meditation, there's one attached if you'd like, or some exercise. Exercise is a great way to kind of clear out those stress hormones and bring in some healthy hormones. So once your body and mind are activated by anger, or really any strong emotion, it takes at least half an hour for it to come back down. So take some time. It does help to go and take a couple deep breaths, but it's not usually enough time. So if you can go for a walk, or go find a quiet space where you can do a meditation, or just even read a book, something quiet and calming, this will help your brain to get back on track to where it needs to be. Once you feel calm, it can be really helpful to try to work through your anger a little bit. So here's some questions that you can ask. You can ask, what's the purpose of this anger? What am I trying to protect myself from? Or is this even anger? Or is it covering up a different emotion that we talked about yesterday with the secondary emotions? And then think about, how can I address this in a way that's helpful? Often anger can if we are displaying our anger in unhelpful ways, it can make the situation worse. So what would be a way to make the situation better? And maybe it doesn't need addressing at all. Maybe something happened and consequences were kind of built in. Maybe nothing needs addressing. So something to think about. And then how can I protect myself while still maintaining kindness and calmness? And this is the tricky one. If something does need addressing, if you need to talk to someone, if if you need to make some changes, how can you do that in a way that is kind and calm? Because it will be heard a lot better in that way. If we go towards someone yelling, their nervous system will be reacted and their brain will shut off as well. So that is not a really great way to communicate. So how can we address conflict in a calm way, in a kind way, where people will listen? And answering these questions can give you some clarity on what the next steps are, how to resolve this anger, how to make this anger productive. Anger can lead to change in a positive way. So those are some techniques on what to do when you get triggered by anger, when you get overwhelmed. But how can we keep ourselves from getting to the point where we just explode? And this is going to sound a little bit counterintuitive, But often an anger problem or an explosion of anger actually comes from us not being angry enough. And let me explain this more. So when we let things build up, they can create tension in us. Think of it like a balloon. Every little irritation is going to inflate that balloon. Now, if we can address some of these irritations, we can let the pressure out of this balloon. If we continue to just kind of push them aside, push them aside, push them aside, push them aside, that balloon is going to get to the point where it finally pops. And our emotions can work like this too. We don't want to get to the point where we pop. And it will look like we are exploding over something really small, but it's actually an accumulation of a lot of small things. So how can we let out small amounts of anger to reduce the pressure and avoid that explosion? The first is to set some good boundaries. If we have good boundaries, we don't get taken advantage of. So if we let people walk on us, we're going to start feeling resentment and anger. So setting good boundaries is a way to prevent us from getting to the point where we feel like we need to protect ourselves. The other thing that you can do is to address small issues when they arise. So it's a lot easier to talk to someone about an irritation or something small that needs to be fixed, rather than when it becomes a really big deal. So if we try to address those small things with good communication, with kindness, it's a lot easier to deal with, and then we maybe won't have to get to the point where we actually explode and feel like we really have to protect ourselves or people we love. So your daily activity today is to try and change your response to anger. Everyone's going to be at a different spot with their anger. So I can't tell you, you need to stop being angry or you need to learn to do this, because everyone is somewhere else. So you look at your own anger. Where do you need to change it? Do you need to spend more time calming down? Do you need to spend some more time reflecting? Do you need to find a way to show a little bit of anger in a regular, regular day so that it doesn't build up? What do you need to improve your reaction to anger, or to increase your capacity for the emotion? Take some time to journal today about how this might feel different, and practice it if you get a chance. If you find that something is making you angry, see if you can react to it in a little bit of a different way and see how that goes. So your guided meditation today is called Cooling the Fire, and it is a guided meditation that you can use in the moment when you are angry. You don't have to wait for that moment. You can use it right now and just pull up something that kind of irritates you and work through it that way as well. So as always, I encourage you to journal, especially today. This is a bit of a heavy subject. It's a really tough one for a lot of people. Draw if that's something that you're comfortable with or that lets you express yourself. And don't forget to write down something you're grateful for. If you're comfortable, we'd love to hear from you and how it goes. So send me an email or a private message. I'm really enjoying reading those. And you're always welcome to also post on our private Facebook group. And that is it. Congratulations on finishing day 22, less than a week left. Give yourself a big pat on the back and really give yourself props for working on your anger. This isn't something easy. So have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.